I'm gonna say it. I like the NASCAR playoff format. I don't think it's perfect, but I like it, and I like it better than a traditional Winston Cup style format. This is going to be a quick reactionary type video to the NASCAR championship race that just happened, but I think this weekend gives us a really good scope of what the playoffs is and what it isn't. We saw what the absolute worst of the playoff system could be, and of course I'm talking about the truck race that happened on Friday, where the playoff champion was seemingly decided by intentional wrecks, mistakes, crazy restarts, and seemingly random things that could have handed the championship ultimately to any of the finalists. But then we saw a cup race where the playoff system flourished, where everyone felt like they had a chance, everyone had opportunities, but at the end of the day, the best team effort between driver, car, and crew won the race. So the point of this video is I'm going to argue for the playoff system in a way. But first, I want to tell you what I think is not perfect about the playoff system. I think that the worst part about the playoff system is, in fact, the championship race. And I know that's a bit contradictory to what I just said, but I think that these same stakes can be built and have the same sort of tension while still having a championship round, almost like the chase, but almost like mixing the chase with the playoff system. So instead of having one championship final race, you just have a 9-race playoff system where the final 3 races are the final round. I think that that adds more opportunity for the best car to win and not have those random things happen like in the truck race, but at the same time, it'll still have that tension and that entertainment factor that NASCAR really looks for in that championship race. I think that having a final round as a championship decider instead of a final race will also have people more on board with a deserving championship narrative. I know, for instance, like Joey Logano has been clowned on for having Mickey Mouse championships because he doesn't have like the best stats, but you go to another sport where people win the World Series or whatever after not being the best all year, they don't say the legitimacy of their championship has gone down. Now, I know a lot of people have made that argument before, but what I think is that the reason that argument is a lot stronger in other sports than it is NASCAR is because you have series in those sports. You have a 7-game NBA championship, a 7-game World Series, but one of the big differences between NASCAR and other sports is that with other sports, to make it through rounds of the playoffs, you have to win. With NASCAR, it's more about you have to not lose until you get to the final, and then you have to win or at least beat out your competitors. But I think that the championship 4 in NASCAR really filters that out a bit, because as we've seen in the past few years, to get to that final 4, you either have to win or you have to be the best of the rest. That's pretty much how it goes. And what ends up happening is that with the playoff point system and all of that, you end up with a very deserving Final 4 the vast majority of the time, especially in a series like the Cup Series, which tends to have a little more respect and a little more consistency between drivers. Now, when we bring this all down into the Truck Series or the Xfinity Series even, you might start seeing some really wacky things, and I think that that's where the playoff system breaks down, is where people are a little more erratic, where things are a little more volatile. I think that that's where the playoff system fails, but where the playoff system succeeds is where you have a series full of talented drivers that are respectful and can get you fairly consistent results. And it can just add a little bit of spice on top of that while still producing a very valid champion. Now, many people are going to argue that we should just go back to the Winston Cup format, and I'm actually going to argue against that for a couple reasons. The first reason is, of course, entertainment. At the end of the day, racing as a whole is entertainment. Now, for something like F1, where you're trying to build the best engineered race car in the entire world, you might want a point system that more is built for just consistent performance and less for entertainment purposes. But we're driving stock cars that aren't real stock cars. This is all for entertainment. And at the end of the day, the format that provides the viewers the most entertainment is the most valuable format. And if you're looking for a legitimate champion, I think that this format right now is more likely to produce a legitimate champion than the Winston Cup format. I'm sorry to go all Ricky Bobby on everybody here, but I really think that winning is the most important thing. It should be all about winning in my head. Now, because when you are winning races, you are proving that you are better than the rest of the competitors. And I think that a point system like the Winston Cup Championship point system has more of an emphasis on not crashing, not having problems with your car. And that's completely fine. If you ask who's the best performing car over the year overall, yes, it might be a certain person. But I personally would rather have my champion be the car that was most likely to win a race, period. And you can definitely argue with that, and I would totally understand people that argue with that logic, but when I watch a race, I care about who wins. I don't care about somebody who's finishing 5th or 6th place 10 races in a row, and while the person who won 2 of the last 3 races wrecked out because of a random event and now they're tied on points. That doesn't really feel right to me, and I know mathematically why it is right, but I just personally like a point system that emphasizes winning, and I think NASCAR and this current system has done the best job of emphasizing winning. But then that might lead to those respect problems that I was talking about earlier, and that's why I don't think the playoffs are a system that should be used for anything except for a group of drivers that can handle it. So I don't think the playoffs should be used in trucks. The jury's out on Xfinity. Honestly, I think Xfinity is fine. And then for Cup, I really do think it's a good point system because at the end of the day, those guys treat each other with enough respect. And I know there's been some controversy over the year. There's been people getting into each other, but it is nothing like it could be. And maybe having this system over a long run might change things, in which case maybe I would reevaluate my opinion. But what I've been seeing from the past decade, I think that barring some minor things, this system is for the good of NASCAR. Am I trying to say that NASCAR's point system should be the point system for like F1 and other series like that? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. For the series where the car and the technology and the engineering are at the forefront, I think that consistency should be rewarded. But for series where we are here to entertain, when we're here to put on a show, I think that this series, this point system, is the perfect balance of having a valid champion while still providing the tension and the entertainment of a playoff or a championship type deal. But let me know what you think down below, because I know this is a hot take, but honestly, I just wanted to get this out there because I think that people like complaining about NASCAR a lot. And I think a lot of the voices that appreciate what's going on, even if we see its flaws, I think those kind of get drowned out. So there you go. You can make fun of me all you want now. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all on the track.